Shalom, ladies and gentlemen. Shalom, shalom. Hope you're all doing well. Well, I'm going to start out by playing a song, and this song is for the Gentiles. Now, I know that may sound strange, but this song is for the Gentiles. So, all of the Gentiles that are always following me around like a couple of cockroaches that you are, I want you to listen very closely to the lyrics of the song. It's not always about the music, it's about the lyrics. And I want you to do me one favor. I want y'all to listen to this at night in the dark when you're all alone. I want you to listen to this rap. All right, so let me share my screen. This one is called Judgment. Judgment. And it's just exclusively for the Gentiles.
Judgment Day, no running, no escape. Nah, hook so born, every move replay. Fact, fire on the throne, sky split like glass. Every knee gon' bow when the trumpets blast. I saw a throne, great white, no flaw. Earth and sky fled away, couldn't stand in awe. Dead, small, and great. Everybody in line, books open wide. All judged by the grind, every word that you spoke still counts. Idle talk in the dark, now the truth come out. And if your name ain't written in the Lamb's own scroll, lake of fire claim your soul. Judgment Day, no running, no escape. Nah, books so born, every move replay. Fact, fire on the throne, sky split like glass. Every knee gon' bow when the trumpets blast. Appointed once to die, then the case get read. Ain't no second chance, no bargain instead. Like the sheep from the goats, we divide. Everlasting life or the fire collide. Some go to punishment, eternal and straight. Others see the kingdom in the pearly gates. But why they crying peace? Safety in the land, sudden destruction hit them by the Father's hand. Keep watch, stay woke, don't sleep. The master might return when the night run deep. He reveal what's hidden in the dark you keep. Judgment flame burn high and the cut run deep. Revelation 20, Hebrews 9, Matthew 25. Ain't no mystery, ain't no hiding, ain't no appeal. The gavel already raised. Judgment is final.
Did you hear that, Gentiles? The judgment is final. It's final. So, y'all, now that I got my fun out the way, let's get to the real story. Donald Trump has been feeling real sensitive these days. And you can't ignore the fact that everywhere he goes, he gets booed. And, every time I show these videos of him getting booed, there's always MAGA fools that will come over to let me know this is all fake. These things aren't happening. Boy, if I could wish for one thing, I hope one day when y'all go out in public with them loud ass red hats on your head that y'all start y'all start getting booed out there too. So anyway, Donald Trump instructed the media not to publish the booze that he's receiving out in public. So he went to the US Open over there in, I believe it was over in the UK. He went over there and the people didn't want him there. And so when Donald Trump was up on that big screen, the boos were loud. They were. And, he's feeling, I guess, overly sensitive about the fact that he's being booed everywhere he's gone. But I guess he's not thinking about everything he's done since being in office. It's about to get worse because many of the MAGAs that live in these rural areas where SNAP and Section 8 is real high, and I think I mentioned this, they're crying to their representatives, their Republican representatives, that Donald Trump's policies are hurting them. And they're upset that Donald Trump is cutting food stamps, cutting Section 8. Remember, he don't want people on Section 8 no more than 2 years. He said 2 years is long enough for them to get on their feet. So after 2 years, you get thrown out of whatever Section 8 condo or home that you're in. And not to mention the majority of them folks are the ones on Medicaid. So, yeah, they are taking it pretty badly, and their representatives are claiming they're shocked. I don't know what y'all shocked over. Y'all always been the biggest ones getting the government assistance. I don't even know why y'all shocked. So, anyway, we're going to look at some videos, and yes, Donald Trump is getting booed, and I also show some previous footage of him going out in public and getting booed. It seems to be a very common thing that's happening these days. So let me share my screen so we can get started. Okay. Please give me a 1 if you can see my screen. Give me a 1 if you can see my screen. Thank you. All right.
So we're now learning that the US Open asked broadcasters to not show the crowd's negative reaction to Trump or any protests going on. Of course, that is an open violation of free speech as well as censorship, but I'm sure the Trump administration doesn't care. Here's what the memo they obtained says: with respect to broadcast coverage, the president will be shown on the World feed and the Ash Court feed during the opening anthem ceremony. We ask all broadcasters to refrain from showcasing any disruptions or reactions in response to the president's attendance in any capacity. Let's be honest, this is Russian-level propaganda we are seeing in the United States. The biggest tennis tournament in America asked all of the broadcasters to not show any negative reaction to Donald Trump's attendance. They are controlling what the public sees. If there are people protesting a political figure at a tennis event, they should broadcast it. That's, of course, free speech, but instead the organizers want to sanitize the broadcast and hide dissent. That's exactly how public perception gets manipulated. It's not like these protests didn't happen or they were violent. It's that the organizers want to hide them from us. All of this really shows how far Trump's presence distorts normal life. Everything has to be filtered to protect him from criticism. Democracy only works when people see the full truth, not a staged version of it.
Another angle of Donald Trump getting booed at the FIFA Club World Cup yesterday has just been released, and I think that this is the best one yet. Take a look. I mean, that is just brutal for Donald Trump. There are actually some Republicans out there who are trying to claim that he wasn't booed, that actually he was applauded. And I just wonder what their response to that video is. The entire country is fed up with Donald Trump and his administration. Democrats, Republicans, independents, people across the board don't like Trump right now. And that video, I think, proves it.
United States. Whoa. That's nice. That's nice. Only if you want to win. Only if you want to win. Maybe you don't want to win. Maybe you don't want to win.
All right. Kinks has dementia, and the evidence of this just keeps rolling in. It's my understanding that one of the symptoms of dementia is called sundowners, where they stay up all night long, the person who has fallen prey to dementia, and do crazy shit. And so let me just tell you what Kinks did at 2 a.m. Pop this up. So he's triggered by late night comedians, terrified of late night comedians. And he puts on live social. And I want to remind everybody, this is the president of the United States at 1:56 a.m. on a social media platform that he had to create because he was kicked off of all of the others because he tried to overthrow the government. But here's what he says. There is a sick rumor going around that fake news NBC extended the contract of one of the least talented late night television hosts out there, Seth Meyers. He has no ratings, talent, or intelligence, and the personality of an insecure child. So why would fake news NBC extend this dope's contract? I don't know, but I'll definitely be finding out. So the projection here, the personality of an insecure child is off the charts. But why is a sitting president of the United States meddling in the contract of a late night comedian with a private corporation? Why is he doing this at 2 a.m.?
Well, because he's an authoritarian, because CBS has bent the knee. He now wants NBC to bend the knee because Stephen Colbert hurt his feelings. What amazes me about this is the fuck your feelings party. And this man has his feelings hurt all the time. And to say no intelligent, like, come on, you big fat dope. It's ridiculous.
I think what gets me about the MAGA movement, and when we were flying, we're in New York right now, viewer. And so when we were flying here, you always see a couple of guys on a flight that have on MAGA coded merch. And a guy sitting next to me, it was like Patriot Protector was his t-shirt, and it had like an eagle and the flag on it with the black, it's black and white. And it's they're MAGA immediately. And so they try to exude this, I'm such a badass. And how do they then, how do you square that circle? Once you're like, I'm a badass and I'm testosterone and I get big tires for my truck and I I lift weights and drink creatine. And then you read that, because it's such a whining, immature, sophomoric, petty, ridiculous thing. Like any adult, much less the president of the United States, like Angie, if you put on your Instagram story at 2 a.m., like I've had it with, these late Stephen Colbert, he really pisses me off. He has no talent. His contract shouldn't be renewed. I would call you the
Shame on the U.S. Tennis Association. Today is Sunday, and the U.S. Open finals are today, the men's finals. And guess who's going to be there? Yes, Trump. Trump is going to be at the U.S. Open today. What a way to ruin tennis. Have you ever seen those famous pictures of him? Should I put it up? Yeah, remember him playing tennis? Remember that one? Ooh. Anyway, he's going to be there today, but the USTA has said in advance of today's final, they want all broadcasters to not broadcast any negative boo or things like that whenever Trump is shown on camera, or, apparently he's going to make some kind of a grand appearance. And I hope that the crowd just roars, boos them to death. And I hope that the broadcasters ignore the USTA, who are like North Korean foot soldiers, bowing down to Kim Jong-un. I mean, we are becoming such a frightening, scary, disgusting, communist, aristocrat, gross state. So please, today, when you're watching the tennis match and you see Trump or you hear Trump, anything to do with Trump, scream at your television screens and go online and say that you've done so. And please double tap this, share it, comment, and spread the word. We want everybody to boo, and I'm going to do a follow-up video and show my boo when Trump makes an appearance today at the U.S. Open, and shame on USTA.
Breaking news: the U.S. Tennis Association is now urging broadcasters to, in effect, censor today's U.S. Open match between Jannik Sinner and Carlos Alcaraz for the finals between number 1 and number 2, because Donald Trump is going to be there. And if people protest, if people boo, if people have adverse reactions to Donald Trump either being on screen or being in the crowd, the U.S. Tennis Association does not want the American public to see this. Now, why is that? I wonder who put pressure on the U.S. Tennis Association to tell their broadcasters to do this. It'll be quite interesting to see the actual video that come from those in the crowd and the audience that are really there, showing the reality versus the fake news being produced by the U.S. Tennis Association and by broadcasters covering the tennis match. Hopefully they'll show accurately what's going on. They'll show if people are either pleased or have displeasure with Donald Trump and allowed to do that. Why is our media allowed to be censored so to show that people, basically the opposite of what their feelings are? If they're not happy with him, they're allowed to have their First Amendment right. If it's at a public sports game, then if you don't want to have the reaction, don't go. But don't try to pretend it's not there. So just want you to know this. So if you're a big tennis fan, you may want to think about this. You may want to call out the Tennis Association and let them know what you think about it. Love to hear from my Democrats, my MAGAs, my crazies, my cuckoos, my burn their light bulbs. It's amazing the levels that the Trump administration will stoop to try to make him look good when at least half the country thinks the opposite. Love to know what you think.
They're booing you, baby, because you suck.
The United States Tennis Association has a Donald Trump problem. He's decided he's going to show up at another sporting event, this time the U.S. Open tennis men's finale in New York City. And the U.S. Tennis Association has asked that all of the media companies broadcasting the event censor any dissent of Donald Trump when he enters the match. So he's going to be there. He'll probably push himself onto stage once again to award whoever their award for winning. That's if he doesn't leave again early like he did during the Super Bowl, when whoever he wants to win doesn't actually win. So the United States Tennis Association knows they have a Donald Trump problem. They don't want him there. New York City does not want Donald Trump there, but he's showing up. With him saying on his Truth Social, we're flying over the match grounds right now. We'll be landing shortly. Nobody wants Donald Trump anywhere, at least anywhere that he is right now.
Rothenberg just broke the news that the USTA basically emailed any media outlets planning to cover the US Open final and said not to cover any reactions to Donald Trump. They have been asked to censor any possible protests or other reactions to Trump's presence at the US Open finals. Ben quotes part of the email. With respect to broadcast coverage, the president will be shown on the World feed and the Ash Court feed during the opening anthem ceremony. We ask all broadcasters to refrain from showcasing any disruptions or reactions in response to the president's attendance in any capacity, including ENG coverage. They are preemptively censoring the crowd. Why? To protect the image of the person who is trying to currently end democracy.
I don't think I've ever heard of one single president saying to censor something because they're getting booed. But Donald Trump is literally getting booed everywhere he goes. Everywhere he goes, he's getting booed. So he better get used to it because it's going to be this way as long as he's the sitting president. This is how it's going to be. A lot of people are unhappy, and most of the people that are unhappy with Donald Trump are his own people. They're the ones booing him at those events. Normally they are really the biggest ones at these sporting events. I mean, it's some of our people there, but not like the white crowd. They're always the biggest one there. And it just goes to show you that Donald Trump, he may have been somewhat favorable when he first took office, but now he has fallen out of favor with a lot of people. And I think in this particular case, it's bipartisan. It's people on the left and right that are very unsatisfied with the job that Donald Trump is doing. So, y'all, make sure you come back at 3:45. Donald Trump has declared war on Chicago, and people are buzzing about it. It's the biggest thing they're talking about today. So he went on Truth Social and he posted a picture of himself, and he's literally in a Confederate hat that the soldiers used to wear back in the day. And he got this image, and he changed the name of the Department of Defense to the Department of War, which I don't think legally he can do that on his own as a president. That has to really go through a process before it can be changed, but that's what he called himself doing. So, no, things are not going well for Donald Trump at all. And the fact that he don't want this shown, it just goes to show you it's getting to him. It's getting to him. Because if it wasn't, he would be able to rise above it and just move on. But apparently it bothers him so much he don't want it on TV. But you know how folks are. Even if the news stations don't show it, it will definitely be online. So, and he can't do anything. You know how it is. Once something goes on the internet, it is there forever. It is there forever, and there's nothing he can do about it. So, good luck, Donald Trump, because, I'm sure you'll be going to more events and you'll be booed at those events as well. So, y'all, I hope to see you at 3:45 so that we can go over Donald Trump declaring war on Chicago and how the people are responding. And I can understand why he's doing this, y'all, because, let's face it, since Obama's presidency, these folks have been making a big deal out of Chicago ever since, despite the fact that Chicago is not even in the top 10 worst cities for crime. But they have been riding high off of Chicago for a long time. So, he is trying to get a little propaganda out of the whole thing. So, y'all, it's going to be interesting to see how this whole thing unfolds in Chicago. They're doing a lot of the same things that DC is doing. They're already out there protesting Donald Trump, sending the National Guard into Chicago. And never forget what I showed you a week ago. Crime is highest in red states. And Donald Trump is going to conveniently ignore that because if he pays attention to it, he's going to have to deal with his own people. And he doesn't want to deal with his own people. He wants to deal with Chicago because he thinks the biggest problem in Chicago is our people. That's why. So he has no problem targeting Chicago, but apparently he's going blind when it comes down to these red states because that's where the worst crimes are and that's where the most crimes are in America. Yeah, he's going to be running after those illegals there too. But we already seen an example of what's going to be done. You know, they're not going after the criminals. They're going after soft targets. And unfortunately, they're going to be doing that to our brothers and sisters in Chicago. They're not going to go after the criminals. They're going to go after the man and woman walking down the street, or the children walking home from school that may be teenagers, or somebody sitting on their stoop or out on their front porch and they start walking past and, oh, I need to see some ID and all that crap. And those are the kind of people that are going to get arrested, y'all. They're going to be setting up the same kind of checkpoints that they set up in DC, and those are the people they're going to be nabbing. It is not going to be the ones causing the problems there, because they're not touching the criminal element in DC. They're touching a bunch of soft targets. That's what they're doing. So y'all, but they'll slap the label on it as they're fighting crime. And the cops up in here have been doing that forever. They go after soft targets and then claiming they're fighting crime. And at the end of the day, none of these agencies are fighting crime at all. So y'all, hopefully I will see you then. Have a wonderful day and shalom. Oh, let me say my thank you. I did not do that. G. Bowman Jr., thank you for the 17 months membership. Judgment, yes. And yeah, I mean, I made that song dark on purpose. And I got 2 more songs that I made dark, because I know everybody don't like the dark kind of rap, but I'm gearing it all towards the Gentiles. All of it's for the Gentiles. So y'all have a wonderful day. Shalom, family.